Ever feel like there's something more out there? Like you're searching for something, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a yearning for something bigger, a pull towards transformation.
Exactly. Well, today we're going to be taking a deep dive into a beautiful Tamil prayer that kind of speaks to those feelings.
Oh, interesting.
It's actually a roadmap in a way, like a guide for aligning ourselves with nature and becoming, I guess you could say, the best versions of ourselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's this prayer all about?
It's based on something called the AADHI. And it's not just a bunch of nice-sounding words strung together. It's like a window into the heart of Tamil philosophy.
That's fascinating. I'm really curious to see where this goes.
Me too. All right, so let's just jump right into it. The prayer starts off with this really powerful plea. Let it come, the tremendous divine light, let it come. It almost feels desperate, don't you think?
Yeah, there's a real intensity there, like a deep longing.
Right. To really get this line, though, we need to understand what light actually symbolizes in Tamil thought.
Yeah.
It's not just like, physical brightness or anything.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It actually represents knowledge, grace, and the dispelling of ignorance.
I see. So it's like if ignorance is stumbling around in the dark, this divine light is the knowledge that illuminates the way forward.
Precisely. The prayer is yearning for that enlightenment, both literally and figuratively. And then it goes on to ask for boundless compassion. Grant it. So we're starting to see this connection here, right, between inner transformation and its outward expression in the world.
Yeah, I'm following you. It's not just about personal enlightenment. It's about extending that light outwards, impacting the world around you.
Exactly. And the prayer continues with this request for harmonious completeness and sacred understanding. And this is where that idea of unity with nature, a cornerstone of Tamil philosophy, really comes into play.
Okay. So how does that tie in, this unity with nature?
Well, think about it. When we lack understanding, it often leads to conflict, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's conflict with others or even within ourselves. This prayer is suggesting that true understanding, aligning ourselves with nature's wisdom, is the key to achieving harmony, both internally and in the world around us.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does, right? But the prayer doesn't stop at just logic and reason. It goes on to say, and I quote, "My heart melts. Tears in my eyes, let them come." This isn't just dry philosophy, it's deeply emotional.
Oh, wow, yeah. You're right. There's a rawness to that, emotional vulnerability. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and that intensity points to this concept of bhakti devotion, which is like a fundamental aspect of Tamil spirituality.
Bhakti, okay.
Yeah, it's about surrendering to something larger than ourselves, allowing ourselves to be emotionally moved. It's part of that spiritual journey.
You know, it's funny because we often try to suppress strong emotions, but this prayer is encouraging us to embrace them, to just let them flow.
Right. I find that so interesting because in a lot of ways, modern society kind of pushes us towards this very intellectualized approach to spirituality.
Yeah, totally. It's all about the head, not the heart.
Exactly. But this prayer is a reminder that it's about both.
Yeah.
Head and heart. And speaking of the heart, the prayer goes on to call for compassion, not just for those we agree with or those we feel close to, but toward all living beings.
That's pretty powerful, especially in today's world, which feels, I don't know, so divided.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where this idea of interconnectedness, which is so central to Tamil philosophy, really shines through. It's like, imagine a spider web, right? Each strand connected, and when one strand vibrates, the whole web feels it.
Right, right.
Tamil philosophy emphasizes that we are all part of this intricate web of life, and harming another being ultimately harms ourselves. So compassion becomes essential for the well-being of the whole.
I like that. The spiderweb analogy really drives home that interconnectedness.
Yeah. And this leads to what I found to be honestly like the most compelling part of the prayer. It's the repetition of this phrase, let me change, I must change. There's just this real sense of urgency there.
It's not just a wishy-washy, oh, I'd like to be better. It's like this active decision to transform.
Right. It's a recognition that change is necessary, that we must change. And it's about aligning ourselves with nature's truth, its light, and its joy.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Definitely. And these are just passive concepts, They're active forces that we have to embody.
Oh.
We don't just wait for change to happen. We actively seek it out.
So how do we interpret those final lines? They're pretty powerful. I must live eternally. I must live.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. Because it's not about literal immortality, right? It's about achieving a state of lasting spiritual fulfillment. It's about transcending the limitations of our individual egos and connecting with something much larger, more enduring.
I see. So it's not about living forever in this physical body, but about tapping into something eternal within ourselves.
Exactly. It's like, think of a drop of water merging with the ocean. It's still water, but it's no longer bound by its individual form. It's part of something vast, eternal.
Wow. That's a beautiful way to put it.
This prayer really is a guide, isn't it? For living a more meaningful, more connected life. It emphasizes transformation, alignment with nature, and ultimately understanding our place in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful reminder that we're not just isolated beings, but part of something so much bigger.
And that we have the power to change, to transform, and to connect with that larger reality. It's pretty inspiring when you think about it. What about you? What would your own yearning prayer sound like? What changes would you commit to making to align with your aspirations? It's something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
It is, isn't it?